I want to talk to you about a website called Fantasy Team Assist. It cuts down the time you need to spend making a fantasy team. It puts all the websites that you need to go to and do research. It puts it all into one website. It breaks it down to matchup difficulty rating and puts Vegas predictions, and it does all this good stuff and puts it all into one website. You no longer have to have 15 tabs open. Spend, hours doing research just to figure out, well, this guy's got a good matchup or what have you. Okay. And no longer do you have to watch hours and hours of podcasts of people talking about who they feel is good. This is just straight numbers. It's not a guaranteed thing, but it's straight numbers. You look at it, and it's obvious. Hey, look, this guy's, cost this much. He's done this so far, and this is his difficulty rating matchup. That's, pretty self-explanatory. You do have to use some football knowledge, but not much. Okay, this is just going to be a quick video about serious considerations or serious people not to consider to play Week 7 in the NFL this week. So, Palmer, 106 quarterback rating, pretty damn good. Going against Baltimore Ravens, who have been suspect. They've given up the 6th most passing yards. The Cardinals are predicted to score, I think, 4 touchdowns. I think Palmer is a pretty good bet. Moving on along, you have Hoyer. Could be a good sneak pick. He's 103 quarterback rating. The best wide receiver in the NFL, who is it this year, fantasy-wise? Hopkins, by far. He's averaging something like 15 targets. Who's throwing the ball to him? Hoyer. Not many people I noticed play Hoyer as a quarterback. He's relatively inexpensive, and he has other options. Nate Washington, I think, maybe playing this week. It's a good all-around sneak pick if you're looking for a sneak pick. And his quarterback rating is 103. And they're only predicted to score, I think, 2 touchdowns. I don't know why. I think Hopkins will score 2 touchdowns himself, So, but it's relatively inexpensive. Now, Phillip Rivers, going crazy, breaking records. 102 quarterback rating, going against the Raiders, who've given up the 3rd most passing yards. I think they're predicted to score 4 touchdowns, the Chargers. Yeah, Phillip Rivers is another good pick. Drew Brees, 96 quarterback rating, going against the Colts, who have given up the 5th most passing yards. Predicted to score 3-4 touchdowns. Drew Brees will definitely play well. He doesn't look like how he did in the early part of the year. He looked pretty good. So Drew Brees could be another good pick. Now, another sneak pick. Castle, quarterbacking over at Dallas. Decent quarterback rating. Going against the Giants, who've given up the 2nd most passing yards in the NFL this year. Castle, cheap. That might be a consideration if you're looking for a sneak pick as far as quarterbacks. They're slated to score, I think, predicted to score 3 touchdowns. That could be some serious fantasy value with Castle. Then you have Alex Smith. Alex Smith, he lost Jamal Charles. Now Moncrief. Macklin, concussion. He's probably not going to even play this week. Week 6, I think they totaled 8 yards of offense in the first half. Without Jamal Charles, that team does not move the ball. Do not play Alex Smith, especially since his number 1 target is not going to be playing with the concussion. Even if he does play, I don't like the play. Even though if you look at the matchup, the Steelers have given up the 7th most passing yards. I just don't see it. Okay, going on to wide receiver, Keenan Allen left the game week 6 with a hip injury. They're saying that he's fine. He is gonna play. It's nothing serious. He's listed as questionable, but I would feel confident. Obviously, keep checking, but I would feel confident in setting a roster with Keenan Allen right now. He is getting over 11 targets a game. I think he had 15 just in the first half and none in the second half. But regardless, he's averaging over 11 targets a game. You can't ignore that. He's going against the Raiders, who've given up the 3rd most passing yards. And again, the Chargers are predicted to score 4 touchdowns. Okay, so craziness. Fitzgerald, he's averaging 9 targets a game. He's Mr. Consistent. He has scored 12 to 15 points the last 3 weeks in fantasy, in DraftKings, or should I say FanDuel. So it's consistency. He's not super expensive. He's not cheap, but they're going against the Ravens. Again, they've given up the 6th most passing yards. And the Cardinals are predicted to score like 4 touchdowns. It's Fitzgerald is a good pick. Then you have Cooks. He's getting 7.5 targets a game. Yes, Drew Brees has been spreading the ball around. Last week he threw like crazy to Watson. Last week Cooks only had 5 targets. But he isn't super expensive. They're going against the Colts, who've given up the 5th most passing yards. That could be a good play. Then you have John Brown. Pleasant surprise last week. He scored 22 points, 14 targets. He's averaging something like 8-9 targets a game. He's up there with Fitzgerald. And the good thing about John Brown, he's a lot cheaper. He's over $1,000 on FanDuel, over $1,000 cheaper. I think it's $1,100 cheaper than Fitzgerald. And again, they're predicted to score 4 touchdowns. John Brown and Fitzgerald are good plays. John Brown is cheaper. Now, is he going to get more targets than Fitzgerald again? I don't know. But it's a good play. Then I like Snead on the Saints. Going against the Colts again. He's averaging over 6 targets a game. And again, they're predicted to score a few touchdowns. And Snead could be up there. Drew Brees is spreading the ball around. So Cooks and Snead, the play you go. Now you have Watson. Now is he going to be another threat to steal some targets? I personally would wait to see that. But I definitely think Cooks and Snead are good plays. They aren't super expensive, and they're predicted to score quite a few touchdowns. So those are good picks. And Stevie Johnson on the Chargers. Behind Keenan Allen, you've got Stevie Johnson averaging over 6 targets. And again, they're going against the Raiders. 3rd most passing yards. Stevie Johnson isn't horribly expensive. Okay, now running back. All right, we're approaching 10 minutes on this video, so I'm going to wrap this up. Gurley, averaging 100 yards a game for the Rams. Going against the Browns, who, guess what? Last year, dead last in yards allowed on the ground. This year, guess what? Dead last in yards allowed to running backs. Okay? It's a pattern. They allow the most. Now you have Gurley, who's averaging over 100 yards a game. Good pick. Martin, over on Tampa Bay, averaging 80 yards a game, going against the Redskins, who've given up the 10th most rushing yards. And the problem with the Redskins is Kirk Cousins is having issues over there throwing the ball. They lost Reed, and I don't see them really doing well running the ball. I don't see them really moving the ball. So, with that being said, I feel that Tampa Bay is going to be able to run the ball. And if they catch it, if they get a lead, they're going to be pounding that ball. So, I think Martin is a good play. All right, once again, Fantasy Team Assist. Check it out. Save yourself some time and enjoy time with the family and kids. All right, till next week.